David, you're not a fan of expectations. Why is that?
Expectations are what really fuels the business world. I expect this, I expect that. But really, when you take a look at what expectations are, it's all about what someone wants. It's what someone wants of you. And I really believe that it's the wrong approach, because if I have an expectation of you, chances are you really don't like that. And who am I to have an expectation of you? So what I find works a lot more effectively are agreements. And when we can change our language around from I expect something from you, because when I expect something from you and you don't meet it, well, that creates a problem for both of us. Whereas if you and I have an agreement, chances are that you're going to want to honor your agreement, and I will want to honor my agreement with you as well. And the reason why that is because when you and I make an agreement, usually I end up actually helping you with something so you can help me with something. So it's mutually beneficial, whereas an expectation is simply me expecting something from you.
And so could you give an example of how you could turn something that's maybe typically very expectation oriented and tends to be, we could say, like more troublesome when you're trying to go through it, and how you could switch it into an agreement oriented one?
Yeah. One example would be the forecast schedule. I need your forecast by the 28th day of the month by noon. And that's my expectation. It's on the schedule. I've sent it to everybody, and I expect to get the forecast by the noon on the 28th. Well, if I don't get the forecast from you, which is usually the case because you're too busy or you didn't complete it in time, I'm going to be disappointed. So I want to turn that around, and I want to find out from you what you would need. I'll tell you that I need to get the forecast done and submit it to corporate, and I need your forecast by the 28th at noon, but what would it take for you to actually be able to do that? What do you need from me? And you might tell me, my assistant's away this week and the computer in the front office is broken. There's probably not a really big chance that I'm going to be able to meet your deadline. And I said, well, okay, hold on. There's not much I can do about your assistant being on holidays, but I can make sure that our systems person comes and fixes your computer today. And then all of a sudden, I've given you something. I've actually helped you. So now you're much more likely to want to help me. And at the end of the day, I might be the director of finance of the hotel, or I might even be the general manager, and you might be a department head manager, but that doesn't mean that I have the right to have an expectation of what you're going to do. And by creating an agreement, it's much more effective, and it's much more of a teamwork type of approach, rather than me kind of lording it over you as your boss. Another thing that's really important too about agreements is, let's say you don't make your forecast submission on the 28th at noon. I can say to you, what's wrong with our agreement, rather than what's wrong with you? Because maybe our agreement is not strong enough, and maybe you actually need something else. Maybe you need more help. Maybe you need some training. So if I make the agreement wrong rather than you, our chance to have a really good relationship is a lot better.
And so for someone who's looking to try to make that switch, to take something that right now is expectation oriented, to make it oriented towards agreements, what advice would you give them?
I do this exercise in my workshops all the time, and what I ask people to do is to get together, and I want you to tell me a complaint you have about me. So once you tell me the complaint about me, you and I then need to make an agreement as to how we're going to eliminate this complaint. So by making that agreement about eliminating the complaint, I'm going to tell you what I need from you, and you're going to tell me what you need from me. And that's the basis of the agreement.